Welcome, everybody. Another replay analysis brought to you by your man, the myth, the man, the legend, and it's just BSJ here. 2000 MMR Spectre. He says that he wants to learn when to play passive/active around objectives. Very cool, my good sir. Very cool.
Banana slam jam.
So it looks like you're against most likely a Lion or Crystal Maiden plus Bristleback. So the stick makes a bit of sense. Would have considered a salve in this lane, especially if your disruptor does not have one, but he does. Okay.
The battle begins.
Just because Bristle's the type of hero that does tend to bring you down to low health at some point. And you want to salve right back up. What are you doing there, bud? Okay, here's the deal, man. I'm going to give chat a chance here. You know, maybe on YouTube this won't look great, but I want to see what chat says. Is there any comments on what... I'm going to give a hint. What are the other three heroes in this lane doing that you are not doing? Use your fucking spells, bro! You have spells! They're using them, you're not! Use spells! I mean, it's not complicated. This applies to literally every hero in the game. Like, they're using their spells. You're not. Every single second, you're wasting 0.9 mana. Every single second, you're wasting 0.9 mana. And they're out harassing you, out trading you, because you're just not using anything. Fucking hit them with dagger. Like, imagine if this Bristle got daggered 3 times. Then he has to salve, and then you dagger him again, you fly yourself a mango or 2, and then boom, like, this guy's out of regen and shit. Instead, you're just sitting back, hitting some creeps. Your job as a carry is to fight for creeps, bro. Fight for them. That doesn't mean just hit the creeps. That means fight the guy in front of you. This is a 2K MMR replay, so these type of things happen at 2K MMR. Forgivable, though. These things are not allowed. You just missed a CS you could have daggered. You just sticked when you had full mana. Yikes! Still waiting for that crucial moment that you're looking for. When's that window that he's... Okay, the dagger came out. Didn't get any CS. First dagger at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And now the Bristle's level 3. Talked about Bristle a shit ton in the stream. Super weak level 1 and 2. Super huge power spike at level 3. So now, if you let him get to level 3 before you do, you've literally lost the lane. Lane's fucking over. When the enemy heroes are weak, hit them. When the enemy heroes are strong, like, you know, mitigate their power spikes. But the best way to mitigate power spikes is by making them be behind by the time they get their power spike. See what I'm saying here? Okay, cool. Or at least use your spells and shit while they haven't hit their power spike yet. Because if you use spells while they're strong, your usage is just going to be less efficient, right? Because, like, you know, that's just how it works. Okay, luckily they're just kind of being super passive, letting you farm underneath your tower. Cool. Massive rotation from your team. Suddenly there's just an SF in your lane. I would 100% have TP'd mid if he's going to sit there doing that. But hey, that's life. He came to yoink you. Sure, that shit happens in most brackets that aren't super high level. Nothing much you can do about that. Okay, Bristleback is doing that. Very cool. Okay. We're going to talk about a very small thing that adds up to a lot of efficiency as a carry. It's all roles, but it's especially carry, okay? So there's a lot of, casual players that look at high MMR players and say, how the fuck are they like a part of 10 kills and have a ton of CS at the same time? How are they farming that much and fighting? And there's a lot of ways that this adds up. There's a bunch of little things that you can do so that you're hitting creeps for less amounts of time. They add up a lot, by the way. These like micro efficiencies over the course of like 10 to 20 minutes, they add up a shit ton. So I want you to think to yourself right now, if you're watching, what is Spectre not doing here? What could he do? Right here. A skill that comes with CSing under tower and CSing in general while you're pushing a wave is hitting the creeps that are full health while one of the creeps is getting attacked. This applies when your creeps are hitting their creeps, applies when a tower is hitting the creeps. Attack these creeps, man! Attack them! It's gonna save you like a second or two. And then you can go rotate to the big camp by the time Bristle's not alive again. He's not gonna be alive by the time you get to the big camp potentially because you did that. It's going to make a second or two difference if you spend the entire time hitting creeps that are full health. Let the creeps be getting hit by the tower or creeps. Make sure you go for those last hits, and in the meantime, between those, you're hitting the full health creeps to make them so they will die faster. It's a small thing that adds up very quick. I see almost all low MMR carries do it. Almost all of you guys do this. It is a huge deal. And over the course of time, you'll lose like 30 seconds to a minute of farm, because you're just not hitting creeps and standing still while your tower or creep wave is hitting a creep wave. And that's something I've never actually talked about in a video before, so that'll be a nice, like, minute or two long video for all you fucking YouTube fiends out there that don't want to watch the actual content. They just want that 2-minute solution to their problems. I'm here for you guys. It's 2020. You guys are a bunch of Zoomers, I understand. See, now, Bristleback is a hero that you don't really like to contest unless you're like killing him or harassing him down. So if your goal is to just farm, then you should be hitting creeps and then rotating to defend your tower. When you're against Bristle, you're either fighting him and out-bullying him or you're just ignoring him. There's really no like in between here. Like if you felt good to like dagger this Bristle and hit him a bunch and then back off, perfect. But, like, you're not doing that, and you're letting him bully you away from the creeps. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, that's what I mean by Bristle's the type of hero that does this. He's either bullying you or you're bullying him. Nowhere really in between. He's not just, like, casually hitting creeps while you casually hit creeps, because he's spamming quills, and those quills start to stack up. So these are the type of downtimes that are created where you could have just killed a small camp, but instead you were sitting back here just, like, waiting for this creep wave to get here. This requires foresight. Like, this requires understanding of matchups. And this is just something to think about when you're in a matchup where this ends up happening, where you don't want to walk up to the creep wave and you get bullied away. Start to look for these situations to happen and try to avoid them before they happen. And that's usually done by rotating between jungle and lane. Would be faster if you pushed out the wave faster. You go to big camp, then rotate to lane, big camp, small camp, lane. It's all about doing that as fast as possible. And it's eliminating little downtimes like this at all times you can. Okay. Nice up gank for you again. I've lost mid pretty hard. That's important for you to recognize. Storm's literally 4 levels ahead of him. Don't know what happened there. So now that you have Honja, it's very important to be looking at statuses of heroes in the game. You should have checked like Storm's mana, you should have looked at the Faceless Void's mana, and you just kind of blindly TP'd bottom. Okay. I don't hate it. I just didn't see any information before I did this, but I don't hate it. I don't hate the rotation. Your Abaddon's pretty strong. It's just the Void has Chronosphere, so yeah. Okay. Your Abaddon just left? Okay, guys. We'll take this time to do a nice old poo-poo-poo double whammy from the BSJ coaching session. We're not only going to fucking analyze the replay for this Spectre's sake. We're gonna talk about an offlaner. If your carry TPs to your
Much
offlane,
obliged.
you need to ask yourself if he dies if you leave. If the answer's yes, you can't fucking leave, offlaner. Stop being fucking selfish, greedy pieces of shit, TPing away and getting your carry killed. What the fuck is this? Why do you think your carry showed up in the first place? He's getting hit by 3 heroes. If he goes bottom and you leave because he's killable, he's just gonna die here. What the fuck are you doing, Abaddon? Stop griefing your fucking carry. Come on, offlaners. Okay. Not much you can do there, man. The minute your Abaddon TP's away, you just have to try to back off. But, like, I think you were like, wait, what? Where's my Abaddon? I'm pretty sure that's what went through your head there. You even checked to see where he was. And, I honestly blame Abaddon there. So, I don't actually fault you there. You should never do that. You should try to be aware of that as possible, but you can try to say, like, hey, Void has Chrono, I need you here. But that's hard, man. That's hard communication to have. I think your TP bottom was reasonable based on the premise that your Abaddon was there to protect you, and then he's just not there anymore. So. At this stage, the game is super awkward. I would definitely play top looking for a haunt at any moment. You have no stuns. I don't know when you picked Spectre, but if you picked last, this is a really bad Spectre game because you have no stuns. So there's no, like, reliable way to set up haunt. No playmakers on your team. There's never a clear-cut moment in this game where you're going to push R. You needed a hero that kind of creates their own plays, rather than a hero that capitalizes on the plays of its teammates. Not a bad play by you there. Every fight that happens, you should show up to. If it's on the side of the map you're playing passively, which you are, that's good. The enemy team's kind of just killing a tier 2 bottom, apparently. This is really scary. This is a situation where I would dagger and get the fuck out, because this is the dead lane, and you end up getting kind of fortunate that the Void just chronos your Disruptor. You definitely should have daggered that wave and gotten out. Like, that's like a sense of urgency thing where you're in a very dangerous part of the map and you just didn't act like you were.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay. Okay. Your Abaddon is really ruining this game. And I'm not saying this to make you feel better. I want you to understand what's happening here in case you don't understand. Your Abaddon is your most survivable hero. He's like your frontliner. He's like the guy. He's like the bristleback for your team. He's supposed to sit in a lane, shoving it, pressuring. And he keeps TPing defensively. Like just now, he TP'd from here to your own tier 2. So your strongest hero is playing like a fucking pussy. So what I need you to understand is because of that, you are forced to play like a pussy. Like you have to. Like you just have to. I was trying to talk about this the other day in a different game. Your strength on the map as a team is dictated by how aggressively your strongest hero is able to play, as well as how aggressively they are playing. So, like, in my bracket, it's usually going to be about the same, meaning, like, how aggressively they should be playing is usually what they do. Like, that's what higher MMR players generally do. But in your bracket, try to recognize who the strongest hero is, especially when you're behind. Who's your most survivable hero? Who's the guy that's going to sit in lanes and be showing on the map as, like, you know, hey, go on me, guys, or, like, you know, trying to make space for you. And in this case, it's not your SF, right? It's your Abaddon. And if your Abaddon wants to play his own tier 2 mid right here, you're fucked. Like, you have nowhere else to play on the map. And that's just life. Play within your parameters. That is how it is. I want you to make sure you understand that. You do have to learn to adjust to the mistakes of your teammates. And it's best to just accept it. Don't try to do his job for him. Don't try to overplay your hero. Do exactly what you're doing right now. This is absolutely fine. Play with him if you have to, you know? Like, play as close to the Abaddon as you can. Like, right here. This is fine. This is great. Wow, BKB Bristle. Second item. Unfortunate you didn't have your courier go pick up your Manta. You definitely needed it there. Would have been a big difference. Do not buy back here. Hey, your team ended up wiping him there. Not so bad. I think it's actually reasonable for you to be at that fight because there's really nowhere else for you to be. and you're against Storm Spirit Lion type heroes where they can kind of kill you if you're by yourself. So even though you have Haunt, and a lot of times playing away from your team when you have Haunt is better, because your strongest hero is playing so scared, I think, and there's nowhere on the map you can play that's not in front of him, I think you playing with your team here is actually correct. Maybe the execution in the fight was a bit off. Maybe you should have let the Abaddon go first. Maybe you should have made sure you had your Manta from the a courier picking it up. But overall, I think your positioning on the map here is correct.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Like, if your Abaddon was able to play up here, and that means you can also farm the triangle while showing up to a fight that goes on here, that's an example where playing away from your team is good. So you do have Manta now, which makes you pretty survivable. In this case, I would run bottom, for sure. I think being with your team here is a bit off, because this is safer than this. I need you to understand that. Based on dead lane, the opponent trying to be aggressive, this is safer than this. I need you to see that, okay? So, obviously, if the opponent Void is sitting bottom, that's not the case. But unless the opponent is, like, directly contradicting that with their play, this is going to be safer than this. So you could be sitting in the trees bottom, daggering this wave, and if you see a fight break out, it gives you the option to either push this tower or Haunt and show up to the fight. Right now, you're stuck at the fight. Like, you have to fight here if your team fights, because you're just here, and there's nothing else for you to do on the map. Obviously, a weird use of your drums there, but whatever. The idea is that earlier, like, your Abaddon is playing here. So, like, you going here is actually a more aggressive version of this. But he's sitting mid right now, and your team's looking to fight mid. This is always going to be the safest lane. So I need you to look for opportunities to go there. Especially now that you have, like, your survivability item against the Orchid on the Storm. It just leaves you in this super awkward situation where the opponent's not forced to react to you, so they're going to consistently threaten to group up on you guys. And you're, like, farming where your team's farming, so you're all sharing the same farm. And Storm ended up going bottom. But yeah.
5
Really reasonable stack here.
2,867,450 clinks. The real Sawyer Green. Ty BSJ, you're an amazing community member.
Okay, so... Okay. Not bad play from you here. Very good. Notice how every fight's going to start with them going on a batting, because that's about the only way you guys can fight. So, it's important to have that vision of, like, how fights are going to start. Your Haunts end up working out. I don't know how much you thought about it. 100% should TV bottom right now. Right fucking now, bro. Right fucking now. There's a wave to push. There's 3 heroes dead. What the fuck are you doing? Okay, you're a bad in TV bottom.
Just what I need.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Honestly, I think it's your fault the Abaddon died there. It should have been you bottom and then, like, Manta push out the wave and farm triangle.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So earlier on, you were playing hyper passive, and I thought it was fine. Now you're playing hyper passive, and I don't think it's fine. You have an Aegis, you have Haunt. Man the fuck up, bro. You're strong now. You're doing what the Abaddon was doing at like 15 minutes. Your hero is much stronger than you're giving yourself credit for. Notice what the rest of your team is going to play like if you play like a pussy when you're not supposed to. This is what's going to happen. The enemy team's going to reap the map. Your team's going to be all playing on their own sides of the map with, like, underneath their towers. And you playing pussy makes that happen. Now, you playing like a man and pushing out the wave mid when you should leads to kills. Crazy. Because enemies in your games are going to be like, wow, I shouldn't let this wave get pushed. And they're going to try to stop you, even though they haven't thought about it fully. And they're going to try to stop you. And then they're going to, like, overextend like Storm did here. And they're going to feed. If you're playing aggressively within the potentials of your hero, it leads to mistakes at all brackets, including mine. Like, it leads to mistakes if you are playing as aggressively as possible within the limits of your hero. But every moment that you're not being aggressive on the map right now, you're just giving the opponent more than they should be getting. So we got a haunt play. End up killing both supports. Okay. Let's turn this into some objectives. I like the Basher. I think Scotty would have been fine too, but you guys kind of lack Disable, so I'm okay with the Abyssal. I think it's probably better since you guys lack it Disable. Yeah. I don't mind you backing off because your team did. You don't want to like throw. You don't have Aegis anymore. You have Haunt again, but your SF's dead, so that does make you have to play passively. You could even consider a BKB after this Abyssal, to be honest with you. Just because 3 of their heroes do literally no damage if you're BKB'd. It's just something worth considering. Okay. So you guys have one Abyssal, so you guys actually have lockdown now. You're getting kills, very nice. Enemy team overextended. We appreciate that. Dude, their 3 heroes dead, man. Just hit the tier 2, bro. Hit the tier 2. Now they're alive and you're making a move. Okay. Bit strange timing there. You pussied out on hitting the tier 2 when the enemy team's dead, but you made an aggressive move when they were alive. Really have to start thinking about why you're making moves. I know it's like pretty early on in your Dota career, maybe at least MMR-wise. Maybe you've been playing for a long time. I want you to think about why you're doing what you're doing, man. Your aggression kind of makes no sense. And this is going to happen a lot as you are lower MMR, right? It happens. Basically, think how aggressively you're supposed to play. Think about respawns. Think about the strength of your hero. And make that guess at all points. And if you are not sure whether or not you're strong enough to do something, just try, man. In the long term, it'll pay off. Yeah, it's good to be wary that Roche is up, but you should definitely not just force it. So it's a good call. Your Baden's back alive. When he's dead, you're pretty weak as a team. So your team is just not together, which is a bit odd, but I think your positioning on the map here is fine. You still have taunts. I think you're being good on your patience with your abilities here. I would probably have Haunted just the second Storm committed, because it's honestly just damage. I think you're holding Haunt way too long. You should TP base since you still have Haunt. You should TP base or go bottom. Okay, TP base is good. I do not like the Orchid. I don't think you need to buy to kill them. You need to buy so they can't kill you anymore. You do enough damage with Abyssal. This is very, it's overkill, I think. Like, they can still threaten your hero. You should now buy survivability items. I would honestly, with Storm dead, just Haunt and kill the Void. If he's near your team at all. He would have just died for sure. Okay, he's actually dead. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, that guy's gonna die for sure. I guess you don't know that. It's fine if you don't know your limits there, obviously. I want you to play where you think you can play. I don't want you to throw a game this late on, going for a kill you think you can and just dying. But at the same time, I do want you to consider that kind of stuff. Like, is this guy really allowed to do that? Storm Spirit's dead right now. Like, fuck. I feel like the average Dota player does not gauge their decision-making based on who's alive and dead in the game often enough. Like, that Void with the Storm Spirit dead should be playing like an absolute pussy. And instead, he's playing like a raid boss and just dies, right? And it's all because his Storm Spirit was dead that he shouldn't be doing that. Because with Storm Spirit dead, they don't really have turn potential when you go on the Void. So, like, that's the problem with his play and understanding there. Capitalize on it a bit. Okay, Lion's dead. You have Aegis, so you're Oh, it's force stab. I want you to see what you're doing in the fight, and then ask me and ask yourself if the Bloodworth Thorn was correct.
Tower is under attack.
You're being almost too conservative with your Haunt. If they're all in on the fight, man, just push Haunt. Your illusions do a lot of damage. You go for a heart. I don't know, man. I can see it. It's better than the Bloodthorn, but like Scotty plus like DKB is what I'm thinking. Okay, GG. I think we talked about this game enough. Hope you learned something from it. And thanks for donating and signing up and whatever. Appreciate it, dude.